Owning a car and having a driver's license provides freedom and mobility. Driving can take us to new destinations, provide new experiences, and for many the art of driving in itself provides much enjoyment. So as a driver, the last thing you need is the expense and inconvenience of a crash and have that independence taken away.
Proton Cars Australia presents this program in the interests of your safety, with the view to ensuring you become the best driver you can be. Proton Cars Australia is concerned about the safety of all Australian road users, but most especially those driving Proton vehicles.
Although a range of Proton cars are featured throughout this production, the majority of driving tips and techniques introduced are fully transferable to any modern car.
Hello, my name is Joel Nielsen. I'm an advanced driving specialist with Safe Drive Training. This program has been designed so you can road test yourself to ensure you are driving in the most efficient, safe and responsible manner possible. I believe you will get years of driving experience in just the next few hours. Even the most experienced driver is sure to learn something. Over the last few years, many programs have been dedicated to the world's worst drivers, world's wildest police chases and world's worst crashes. These programs have shown us how not to drive, but few programs have been dedicated to driving properly.
This production has numerous individual segments that may be viewed and understood a few at a time, rather than all at once. This format should allow teachers and lecturers the ability and freedom to use certain segments as part of a driver education or road safety presentation.
Before we begin, it is important to highlight that the filming of this video was undertaken under strictly controlled conditions here at the Mercantile Mutual Queensland Advanced Driver Education Centre, west of Brisbane. Without further ado, sit back, strap yourself in and become the best driver you can be. It has often been said that safe driving is just common sense. Well, in my experience, this sense isn't that common. Unless you're into extreme sports, one of the most dangerous things you'll ever do is drive a motor vehicle.
No matter how good you think you are as a driver, the unexpected can still lead to a crash. It is important then to minimise the risks associated with driving by adopting low-risk driving techniques. Whilst Proton build very safe cars, something they have no control over is the driving ability of those purchasing their vehicles. Over recent years, the road toll in Australia has been on the decline, but young drivers under 25 are still overrepresented in crash statistics. Road crashes are a leading cause of death and injury for young Australians. Even in the workplace, the Federal Office of Road Safety and the National Safety Council recognise that road crashes are the most common cause of work-related deaths, injuries, and absence from work in Australia. A driver's licence does not automatically make you a good driver.
As such, it is important to receive as much professional driving instruction as possible. Whether you're a novice just starting to drive, a parent carrying the most precious cargo of all, a four-wheel drive enthusiast, the driver of a company car, or someone looking for a really great adventure in driving, Safe Drive Training has a driver education and training program for you.
Safe Drive Training and Drive Safe Australia form Australia's largest and only true national driver training network. Driving programs are available at training centres throughout every state and territory. Courses available range from learn to drive lessons, high school driver education, defensive driving, driver evaluations, advanced car control, performance days, four-wheel drive off-road courses and tours, CAMS motorsport licensing, company fleet safe drive programs, celebrity driver training and corporate entertainment. Safe Drive Training, with the support of Proton Cars Australia, Quest Newspapers, Radio 4BC, Yokohama Tyres, Castrol and Fulcrum Suspensions, also offers high school driver education courses for both Year 11 and Year 12 students. These programs are currently offered to 195 high schools, both state and private, in southeast Queensland, but soon will be available Australia-wide. Through Safe Drive Training, Year 11 students can now undertake at school driver education theory and utilise state-of-the-art cybercar simulators before they begin seeking professional driving school lessons. Year 12 students can attend through their school the one-day Quest Safe Drive 2000 Defensive Driver Safety course to complement their professional driving school lessons. Bus transport and the use of a fleet of brand new Proton cars is included in the attendance price. This not-for-profit program has been in operation since 1996 in southeast Queensland. To date, more than 7,500 drivers have benefited from this essential program.
It is at these driver education courses that Safe Drive training staff are constantly shocked by the lack of driving ability and road safety awareness demonstrated by many young drivers. Of even greater concern is the bad attitude to driving and sheer bravado demonstrated by these drivers, many mistaking their ability to drive fast as making them a good driver. Unfortunately, some will only learn the hard way that safe drivers are lifesavers. What a terrible way to learn a lesson. As you'll discover throughout this program, small things can make a big difference when driving. By combining these small things, you will be a far better and safer driver. An example of this is your seating position. Many drivers sit on the seat, not in the seat. The seat does not communicate to the driver what is happening on the road surface. In motorsport, we often hear the term driving by the seat of the pants, the driver using the car seat to communicate road grip, tyre slip, and wheel spin. The first moment a typical passenger car driver realises the car is sliding or skidding is often when the sense of sound hears the tyres screech or the balance sense alerts the driver all is not well. Feedback can be gained earlier through careful and proper seat positioning that provide the 3 C's: comfort, communication and control. This Proton Satria GTI has excellent seat adjustments, so why not use them? Firstly, it is important to be the right distance from both the steering wheel and the pedals. Being too close or too far away will reduce your level of control. Adjust the seat base in or out so you can fully depress the clutch pedal whilst reaching the other pedals with your leg remaining slightly bent. Then drop your wrists across the top of the steering wheel. When you bring your hands down to the normal steering position, you create a nice bend in your elbow. This gives you plenty of leverage when steering and is nice and relaxed. Should you sit too far back from the wheel, your muscles will be tensed, your arms outstretched, which leads to driver fatigue and maybe a poor hand position on the wheel. Should you sit too close to the steering wheel, you are equally in danger, especially in an airbag-equipped vehicle. The airbag assumes you are sitting in the correct position. If not, it can inflate into you, not in front of you. Many drivers drive with the seat too far reclined, offering little back support, shoulder support, and little communication. As such, adjust the seat back as upright as possible so that you're comfortable in the car. Now, your shoulders are supported. Now the lateral supports of the seat help to keep you well restrained, especially when cornering. Next, adjust the headrest. Adjust the headrest up so the middle of the headrest lines up with the middle of the back of your head. Never drive a car without the headrests fitted. If a vehicle is struck, an occupant is pushed forward by the forces transmitted through the seat back. If the headrest is not close enough to the head will tend to remain stationary as the body moves forward until the head tries to catch up. In large impacts, this leads to hyperextension of the neck, an unnaturally large movement of the head relative to the neck, causing injury to the spinal column, spinal cord, and the muscles and ligaments of the neck and back. Similarly, in large frontal collisions, occupants usually make 2 impacts. Firstly with the dashboard, windscreen or steering wheel, and secondly as they rebound back into the seat. If the headrest is not correctly adjusted, the neck can be injured. Some cars also have height adjustable seating. Keep the seat adjusted as low as possible whilst allowing vision over the steering wheel. The vehicle designer has gone to a lot of trouble to keep the heavy components of the car close to the ground. This lowers the centre of gravity and makes the vehicle more stable. Apart from the engine, fuel tank and gearbox, occupants and their luggage are the next heaviest items. As such, sitting as low as possible becomes very important. When sitting high in the car, your vision is projected down onto the road in front. When sitting low, your vision is projected upwards, which is ideal. Next, check the steering wheel height.
Use the release lever and move the steering wheel to a height which allows you to read the instruments. Ideally, your arms should be angled slightly down from your shoulders. With the seat too low and the steering wheel too high, your hands will be above your heart, which means your heart will work harder, pumping blood up to your fingers. Position your legs wide apart in the car to provide stability. Use your left foot on the foot brace for added support when cornering. Lastly, remove any loose objects from your body. In the event of a serious crash, a pen in your round neck t-shirt can be forced into the throat, a pen in your pocket forced into the heart as your body strikes the steering wheel. By adjusting the seat correctly, you are now sitting in the seat, providing maximum comfort, communication and control. All that's left to do is put your seatbelt on and adjust your mirrors. Although it may have taken some time to explain how to set yourself up correctly, remember that unless other people drive your car, you will only have to adjust things once, and simply check them before you drive away. A defensive or low-risk driver would never consider driving off without firstly checking and correctly adjusting the vehicle's mirrors. It's another sign of a driver ignorant to the risks, who persists in driving even though the mirrors are poorly aligned. Would you make the effort to stop and adjust your mirrors, or simply take the "it'll be alright" attitude? By correctly adjusting the mirrors, you minimise the blind spots of a vehicle. With the driver's head and eyes positioned straight ahead, none of the highlighted sections are visible in the driver's vision. Firstly, there is a small blind spot created by both A-pillars. For a tall driver, the rear view mirror can create a distant blind spot. Outside of the driver's peripheral vision, a large blind spot extends around to what the side mirrors cover. This area is larger on the passenger's side. These limitations of human vision create blind spots large enough to park a truck in. As such, it is imperative to adjust your mirrors correctly. Adjust the middle rear vision mirror up, so the top of the mirror just cannot see the top of the rear window of your vehicle. Keep this mirror up from the road immediately behind your car. The rear vision mirror may also have an anti-glare feature. Don't be afraid to use the centre rear vision mirror. Some drivers subconsciously believe it's a sign of weakness to acknowledge the driver behind, or worse still, make eye contact with following drivers. Using your mirrors keeps you aware of the dangerous drivers behind, allowing you time to make the right decisions when required. In this Proton, adjust the electric side mirror out so that the inside of the mirror just cannot see the inside of your vehicle. Don't waste mirror space by looking at the side of your car. It won't fall off, and no one should ever overtake you that close. Even with your mirrors correctly adjusted, there will still be some blind spots. So be prepared to shoulder check these blind spots before indicating, changing lanes, merging, or even leaving a parking spot. Be constantly on the lookout for motorcyclists in your blind spots, and avoid driving for prolonged periods in the blind spots of other vehicles. If two vehicles collide head-on, the inertial force on the occupants can be up to 10 times their body weight. A strong human being like a powerlifter can only control up to 3 times their body weight. Thus, wearing a seatbelt is critical when driving a car. At least 90% of Australians are smart enough to wear a seatbelt, but many take it for granted and don't always wear the seatbelt as it was designed to be used. A warning for those who persist in not wearing a seatbelt is that at any collision over 7 kilometres an hour, you won't be able to prevent yourself hitting the vehicle's dashboard, and that's going to hurt. Not wearing a seatbelt in a severe crash can result in unrestrained occupants making severe contact with internal surfaces, other occupants, or even being thrown from the vehicle. This Proton is equipped with a 3-point inertia reel emergency locking retractor seatbelt. What all this means is with the seatbelt fitted, it is attached at 3 points. The lower belt into the floor or seatbelt rail, then through the seatbelt buckle, then the shoulder belt extends down behind the plastic housing into the seatbelt reel. The seatbelt reel helps tension the seatbelt, and on fast reel out, like in an emergency, the seatbelt has an emergency locking mechanism to lock the belt. The lap sash system is currently the most effective way of restraining occupants.
Even better than that, these seatbelts are designed so the anchorage of the buckles is to the seat and not the floor.
This means that with the buckle attached to the seat, known as auto-positioning front buckles, the seatbelt always maintains the correct angle over the body, irrespective of the seating position.
This reduces the chances of the seatbelt slipping up onto the abdomen. A vehicle designer needs to take account of a varied range of human sizes and dimensions that may drive or passenger in the vehicle. As such, it's important to adjust the seat before putting the seatbelt on. It doesn't take long to correctly position yourself in the car, but it makes a big difference to seatbelt effectiveness in a crash. When putting on the seatbelt, pull up the slack in the bottom belt and allow the reel to wind up all the slack. I even lock the emergency locking retractor myself for added security and stability. To do this, pull the seatbelt tight and then give the seatbelt a quick pull, or put your hand under the belt and quickly push out. In this way, you are pre-tensioning the seatbelt yourself. In the event of a crash, when the seatbelt is called upon, it puts massive forces across the body. These forces need to be directed to the bony structures, such as the pelvis and shoulder blade. Wear a seatbelt as a belt. Position the lower lap belt across your pelvis, on your hip bones, not across your waist and stomach. Massive internal injuries can occur in a large crash to the soft stomach region if the belt is too high. Check that the seatbelt is not twisted. If so, the area restraining you is small, increasing injury in this region. The seatbelt, if twisted, can cut into you like rope and leave permanent scarring. Extra seatbelt padding and covers can help distribute the forces. The sash belt should run naturally across your shoulder and never underneath your arms. The seat should be kept upright and you should sit firmly in the seat to minimise the chance of submarining or sliding underneath the seatbelts. Lastly, the seatbelt works like a crash helmet. They're designed to only function once. After a severe crash, your seatbelt should be examined and, if necessary, replaced.
Some cars have special tags that pull from a plastic sleeve as the seatbelts are stretched in a large crash. Never drive a vehicle with the replaced seatbelts tag exposed.
Finally, children should be properly restrained when travelling in a motor vehicle. Children are not safe just because they're sitting in the back seat. Children should never ride on passengers' laps, nor share seatbelts with adults or other children. A child is only safe when they're sitting in the right baby seat or child seat for their age and size, and this seat has been correctly fitted using the anchor points provided. No matter how carefully you drive, the unexpected can still happen. A seatbelt will help minimise the injuries to all occupants. Often you can tell a driver's attitude and respect to driving by the positioning of their hands on the steering wheel, or more correctly, their lack of hand position. Are any of these steering positions familiar to you? The hold-on steering position, left hand at 1 o'clock, and the right arm holding onto the door, roof or mirror so it doesn't fall off. The taxi driver steering position, only one buttock on the seat, the right hand at 10 o'clock on the wheel, and the left arm around the headrest of the passenger's seat. The four-wheel drive steering position, the right hand at 12 o'clock and the left leaning on the gear selector, wearing the synchro mesh. The learner driver steering position, wrongly taught by mum or dad the old habit of holding the wheel at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. The white knuckle steering position, holding the steering wheel so tight the knuckles lose colour. The in prayer driving position, both hands together at the top of the steering wheel. The accident waiting to happen steering position, using one finger to keep the car straight. The sales representative steering position, steering with the knees while taking phone messages, eating lunch and looking up the next appointment. Well, if any of these steering positions look familiar, let me politely tell you, you are doing it all wrong and have picked up a very unsafe steering habit. If a racing driver needs their hands at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, or the quarter past and quarter to position, on a racing track they've been round hundreds of times before, we also should keep our hands at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on the road where the unexpected lurks around any corner. The 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock position is preferred for the following reasons. The vehicle ergonomics are designed around this position, with indicator and wiper stalks being toggle switches for your fingers to operate, with no need for your hands to move from the wheel. The steering wheel grips are designed for this position. Any good leather steering wheel has hand grips or recesses at this position. We'd also recommend you keep your thumbs to the outside of the wheel. In an airbag-equipped steering wheel, the airbag assumes your hands and arms are located at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, so the airbag can inflate between your arms and not into your arms. With your hands at 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock, as many learner drivers are taught, the airbag could break your arms and send your arms flying back into your head at 200 kilometers an hour, delivering a knockout blow. Another reason why 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock is best can be shown by this simple example. With your hands higher on the wheel, you have less control and are more likely to make sudden jerky movements rather than dial the steering in as required. As you can clearly see, two hands on either side of the steering wheel give the driver the best control, demonstrating to everyone that you know what you're doing. Having the correct steering position is great when driving straight ahead. As the Scouts say, be prepared. But what about when you have to start to steer? Having your hands positioned correctly is one thing. Knowing when and how to adjust your hands is another. Well, in this open slalom, there is no need to move your hands from the steering wheel. As the slalom gets tighter though, the driver needs to reposition hands for the expected turn. On country roads in higher speed zones, corners are usually flowing, like this one. In this situation, prior preparation is probably the best method. Before a turn, grab half a handful of steering wheel and take that through the bend. But keeping your hands superglued to the wheel when making a 90-degree bend is not recommended. Crossing your arms will not allow any further steering input without having to let go of the wheel. In suburbia, two methods of steering are often taught, hand over hand and pull-push steering. But some drivers adopt very strange and incorrect steering methods, such as the wax-on, wax-off steering technique, using the palm only to turn the steering wheel. This steering technique provides very little grip and vehicle control. Or the hook turn technique, putting your hand inside the wheel when making a turn. The inside of the steering wheel is a no-go zone. With your hand inside the steering wheel when making a turn, should the wheels clip a gutter, pothole, speed bump or even garden edge, the wheel could flick back, potentially breaking your arm, your wrist and your thumb. If you feel this technique is necessary when turning, maybe your tyre pressures are a little low. An often taught method of steering is hand over hand steering. In this method, the hands move from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, crossing over each other to get another handful. This method is not recommended though in airbag-equipped vehicles, since if a collision occurred mid-turn, the inflating airbag would fire into the driver's arms, sending them towards their head. It is not good practice though once the turn has been completed to open your hands and allow the wheel to self-centre. This can eventually catch you out. Probably the best steering technique for 90-degree turns and roundabouts is pull-push steering. With your hands at 3 and 9, lift the hand up on the side you wish to turn to and pull down. Your other hand meets this one and you exchange handfuls of steering wheel. When completing the turn, feed the wheel back to centre. Next time you're driving, think about how you're holding the steering wheel and what techniques you use when turning. Chances are with some practice, you could break that bad habit, improving your driving and your level of car control. Behind the steering wheel fascia of this Proton GTI is another life-saving device, the driver's SRS airbag. The letters SRS stand for Supplementary or Secondary Restraint System. The function of the airbag is to add to the protection provided by the primary restraint system, the seat belts. Having an airbag could be the difference between a big crash and a fatal crash. Airbags provide direct protection to a driver's head and chest by absorbing energy during contact with the vehicle's interior. Most airbags inflate by the ignition of a sodium azide fuse, which burns or explodes to rapidly produce nitrogen gas. Airbags are triggered around 50 milliseconds after a crash, deemed severe enough to warrant their ignition. They inflate fully in only a few more milliseconds, the speed of inflation being over 200 kilometers an hour. On deployment, the explosion will create a loud noise and release some smoke and powder. The airbag will rapidly deflate as the gas escapes through vents, so your vision will not be obscured. The SRS airbag does not replace the need to wear a seatbelt. They are designed to work together to maximise safety. The seatbelt worn correctly helps keep the driver correctly positioned and slows the movement of the occupants down, so the airbag can inflate in front of and not into occupants. It should be noted that the airbag works only once, and any subsequent impacts made in the collision will have no airbag protection. Depending on the design of the car and the airbag system, in some collisions the airbag might not work due to the collision angle or other factors the sensor decided did not warrant inflation. Airbags inflate very fast and with great force. As such, before driving an airbag-equipped vehicle, it is essential to adjust your seating position, as was shown in earlier segments of this program. Sitting too close when an airbag deploys can cause injury. Never lean forward in the seat. Keep your entire back against the seat, including shoulders. You may need to incline the seat more. Steering techniques and hand positioning are critical in an airbag-equipped vehicle. The airbag assumes your hands are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on the wheel, so the airbag can inflate between your arms. With your hands higher on the wheel, as many novice drivers are taught, on airbag inflation the airbag can break your wrists and send your arms flying back towards your head at over 200 kilometres an hour, delivering a knockout blow. There is a wide variety of trigger speeds for cars with airbags. Generally though, due to high seatbelt wearing rates in Australia, our airbags have been calibrated for higher speed impacts, above which the seatbelt will not stop the head impacting the front cabin. Additional SRS airbag information and warnings are usually provided in both the vehicle handbook and as a sticker on the driver and, if necessary, passenger's sun visor. I hope you never see the airbag work in real life, but it provides added peace of mind driving an airbag-equipped vehicle. ABS brakes might avoid having the crash, but not all car crashes are avoidable. As such, buying a car with an airbag is worth considering. When I was 17 and didn't know any better, I dared a mate of mine in his combi van to go around a 90-degree bend on a dirt road as fast as he could. About mid-corner we suddenly appreciated the danger we were in. The high centre of gravity, the skinny tyres and the dirt conspiring against us. The vehicle pivoted, tipped and then rolled 3 times over, landing up on its wheels. We were really lucky. Lucky firstly we had our seatbelts on and we weren't ejected from the vehicle. But it was no understatement that this mate treated the floor of his car as a toolbox. Inside there was a circular saw, a socket set, an axe, dirty pair of footy boots, dirty pair of footy socks, dirty pair of underwear which still disgusts me to the day, and there was a couple of burgers from the local takeaway. In the washing machine rollover process, all these objects went to the roof, then the floor, the roof, the floor, the roof, the floor. 2 of the burgers struck me in the eye, giving me 2 black eyes. You might say I got the works. As such, it's pretty important not to make loose objects inadvertently into lethal weapons should you have a crash. This car is set up as an example of what not to do. Chances are you probably don't have all these loose objects lying around in your vehicle. But firstly, don't store anything in your own driver's footwell. Not your club lock or steering lock, nor your driver's shoes. In a motor vehicle crash, these objects would slide forward, possibly underneath the pedals, reducing your level of control. These Proton floor mats attach with Velcro to the floor for added security. Here's a test. This car is loaded with 200 kilograms of luggage. In a 56 km/h collision, the luggage flies forward, surely adding to the injuries of the occupants. In a collision, small objects become big missiles, making impacts 20 to 30 times their weight. 20 kilograms of load can impact the skull at an equivalent of half a tonne. This means even the smallest objects can pack a big punch. Loose objects on the dashboard, such as CD cases, mobile phones, even loose change, can be very distracting as they fly around when cornering. Maybe these things should be in the glove box or other storage compartments provided. This car also comes standard with 2 cup holders right in front of the air conditioning vents, so you don't need to nurse drinks between your legs. In front of the air conditioning vents, keep cold drinks cold and hot drinks hot. Also avoid the temptation of putting your briefcase or handbag on the front passenger seat. Again, this will fly around, especially under hard braking. This sort of thing would be safer in the front passenger's footwell or safely stored behind the passenger seat. Even on a Friday night, let's say, the videos, the Chinese food, the pizzas, sitting on the front passenger seat when cornering start flying around. Too often you try and save loose objects and forget about saving the car.
Never leave large objects unrestrained on the back seat. Often at the drive-through bottle shop, the attendant will place a carton of beer on your back seats. In a small crash, this heavy mass could kill front seat occupants. Death by beer. What a way to go.
Several years ago, there was a young lady killed at a local shopping centre. Her groceries sitting on the back seat of her car. Leaving the shopping centre, a car suddenly stopped in front of her. She gave it a small love tap from behind. The groceries took off, impacting the back of her head so hard that some of the cans killed her instantly. So that's not a good place to store things. Also be aware of what's underneath the driver's seat. For example, something harmless like a golf ball or a can. Or even the Refidex could slide underneath the driver's seat under hard braking or cornering and end up underneath the pedals. Maybe the Refidex should be in a map pocket. Also, this car has a remote boot release, so use it to allow access to the boot area to store heavier objects. This section of the car is commonly referred to as the parcel shelf, but we should never store objects here. Not small dogs, nor cats, nor tissue boxes, nor umbrellas, nor hard hats. As a civil engineer, I'm constantly amazed by colleagues of mine who demonstrate their ignorance to the dangers of loose objects by storing their hard hat on this rear parcel shelf. In a motor vehicle crash, an object like this would fly through the cab, killing occupants. Tragically too are the people who've been killed by their own golf umbrella, left innocently on this rear parcel shelf. Until they had a crash they never thought was going to happen to them. The golf umbrella flew through the cab, maybe through their seat, stabbing them from behind. These objects shouldn't be stored here. When putting them in the boot, give some consideration though to how they are placed. Objects banging around are distracting and can damage the boot, so pack items carefully. Place the largest, heaviest items down low and up against the back seats. Large items should be placed to have the maximum surface area contacting the back seats. Having the luggage the other way round concentrates forces in a crash. A product that exists that provides protection for occupants from their luggage is a cargo barrier. This is a Milford barrier, manufactured by Milford Industries in Adelaide. Milford manufacture barriers as aftermarket accessories for commercial vans, utes, wagons, and even passenger cars. The whole idea is to provide a reinforced cage that separates occupants and their luggage. This cargo barrier is a little smaller than most. It's made for cars with split-fold rear seats. The reinforced cage bolts up against the back and the net extends out to the boot of the car. Let's see if our crash test dummies would fare better in a 56 km/h crash if they had fitted a cargo barrier to separate them from their 200 kilograms of luggage. As we see, the cargo barrier failed since it was an inferior cheap barrier that did not meet Australian standards, nor was correctly installed. Had the car been fitted with a Milford cargo barrier, which does meet the relevant Australian standards, the results would be different. Lives would be saved. Under the Workplace Health and Safety Act, the vehicle is becoming recognised as a workplace, and as such, employers have obligations to protect employees on the job site. This may include the fitment of cargo barriers to the company vehicle fleet. In the interest of your safety, store all loose objects in your vehicle correctly. If you regularly carry heavy objects though, consider the purchase of a cargo barrier for added protection. To provide added versatility and greater load carrying capacity, many vehicle manufacturers provide the convenience of vehicles with split-fold rear seats. In the interest of your safety though, store very heavy objects only in the boot section, with the rear seats upright and locked into place. For added security, the rear seat belts can be locked across each other when no rear seat passengers are on board. In this Proton Satrias GTI, the rear seatbelt buckles can be stored in seat pockets, and then the left or right rear seat back can be folded down by lifting the release mechanism. The headrest can be removed. This area now acts as a cargo shield. By joining the passenger and luggage compartments together, this is useful for carrying long objects, but these objects should still be secured to prevent them from moving forward and striking front seat occupants under heavy braking. Do not carry objects of such length that they cannot sit behind this shield, but rather balance on top of it. In an emergency, this object would exit the vehicle through the front windscreen, taking you with it. Mobile phones and driving do not mix. Both are complex tasks requiring more than half your attention. Latest research suggests that using a mobile phone while driving is similar to being affected by alcohol. Safe Drive Training, Joel speaking.
You can often tell the driver ahead of you in traffic has picked up the mobile phone. They're the car that was moments ago driving at the speed limit, but now are driving much slower and wandering all over the road.
The problem is, as a driver, you do not realise this is happening because your attention is at the other end of the phone. Australian road laws have started to address the use of mobile phones while driving. If you do use a phone as a motorist, it's important to make yourself aware of these relevant state laws. Otherwise, should you crash the car, you may be in contradiction to these laws and your insurance will be null and void. If you do use a mobile phone while driving, consider that not too many years ago we didn't have phones and still we survived.
But if you must be contacted while driving, consider these alternatives. Use a pager, divert calls to another person, subscribe to a personal message service, use a recorded message bank, pull over and park before answering calls, or as a last resort, use a hands-free kit.
It is also good mobile phone etiquette when calling somebody's mobile to make sure they're free to talk before beginning the conversation. In a company vehicle fleet, it is important to set and strictly adhere to a policy regarding the use of mobile phones. After all, a few missed calls are a lot better than a lost life.
It's important to familiarise yourself with what's under the bonnet of your vehicle and how to regularly check the fluid levels. These checks should be undertaken perhaps every fortnight for city driving, but even daily for long trips or when carrying or towing heavy loads. By weekly eyeballing under your bonnet, irregularities such as missing clamps, cracks in rubber hoses and leaks may be picked up well before they become a problem and get you stranded on the side of the road. If unsure, always consult a reputable mechanic and consult your vehicle's handbook for their exact recommendations. One of the first checks to make is engine oil. All cars use a certain amount of oil during normal operations. Older cars, though, might need daily checks. Oil should only be checked with the car parked on level ground, with the engine off, but at normal operating temperatures. Wait about 5 minutes to allow the oil to settle through the engine and return to the oil pan for an accurate reading. To check the oil, remove the dipstick and wipe with a soft, clean cloth. Then reinsert the dipstick and make sure it is pushed fully home. Then pull it out and again check the oil, making sure the oil is between the two designated marks. If oil is below the specified minimum, remove the cap located on the cylinder head cover and add oil small quantities at a time. The whole engine usually only requires 3 to 4 litres of oil to fill it, so don't add too much. Keep rechecking often. Use oils only recommended by the manufacturer and try not to mix brands. The automatic transmission fluid could also be checked with the dipstick supplied. Check only after the engine is heated up through driving. If you allow the engine to idle to warm up, the automatic transmission fluid will not be warmed. Once it has warmed up though, park the car on level ground, apply the park brake, and you may need to get somebody else to give you a hand. Have your assistant fully depress the foot brake, then move the automatic selector from park to low, stopping momentarily in each gear position. Return the car to neutral and ease off the foot brake. To make your check, make sure the engine is off, then remove, clean, and reinsert the dipstick, making sure it goes all the way in. Then remove and make your reading. Be careful as the liquid is highly flammable. Next, check the engine cooling system. Beside the radiator in this Proton is the coolant reserve tank. This is a clear plastic container to allow readings to be made from the outside. The cooling system in a modern car is a closed no-loss system, which means any drop in fluid level should indicate a leak. Just don't top up with water. Inside the reserve tank, mixed with water, should be the correct proportion of ethyl glycol, which is an anti-corrosion agent. You see, the cylinder head and water pump housing are made of cast aluminium alloy, which could corrode if only water is used. The coolant also has 2 other important properties: to resist freezing in cold climates and also to raise the boiling temperature over that of what water has. As such, the coolant is often referred to as antifreeze, anti-boil. In colder climates, the concentration of cooling agent with water will determine the protection against freezing. It is shocking then to discover that many cheaper engine coolants sold in supermarkets are simply coloured water. The best bet for the protection of your engine is to buy a quality engine coolant from the vehicle manufacturer or from a well-known oil company like Castrol, and have your car serviced at a reputable service centre. Next, consider checking the battery level. The battery fluid level should be inspected at least every 4 weeks, as the battery is an expensive item to replace. The electrolyte level must be between the upper and lower marks stamped on the outside of the battery. Only replenish the battery with distilled water, and remember to add distilled water to each of the battery compartments as required.
Be careful not to spill electrolyte from the battery. It is caustic to both the skin and the eyes. If it gets on your clothing or painted surfaces, wash it away with water. Don't wipe it away with a cloth. Next, check the brake fluid in the car. Brake fluid is a fluid that's called hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture into it. That means when you apply the brakes, any moisture or air is taken up before the hydraulic properties of the fluid takes over. The boiling temperature of new brake fluid is about 260 degrees Celsius, a temperature you should not get to under normal driving. But older brake fluid that has deteriorated can reduce this boiling temperature down to about 160 degrees Celsius.
In this Proton, you can check the level of the brake fluid through the clear container under the bonnet. On this reservoir, brake fluid level should be between the maximum and minimum graduations. The brake fluid reservoir is equipped with a special cap to prevent the entrance of air. This cap should not be removed, otherwise moisture will be absorbed from the atmosphere. The fluid level will drop slightly as brake pads wear.
When buying a second-hand car, you have no idea of the hydraulic properties of the brake fluid. As such, get a qualified mechanic to change the brake fluid as soon as possible. Make sure you only use a quality brake fluid like this Castrol product. Some cars have a brake fluid warning lamp. When the level gets too low, the warning lamp comes on. Never mix brands of brake fluid because they can result in a chemical reaction. Brake fluid is toxic, corrosive, and a fabulous paint stripper, so if it spills on the car again, wash it away, don't wipe it off. To check the power steering fluid, make sure the car is idling on level ground. Be very careful reaching into an idling engine, that you don't have your hands or hair or tools get caught in any of the engine components. Remove the cap of the power steering, wipe the dipstick clean, reinsert it, then remove it and make your check. That's fine, between the minimum and maximum marks. If you had to add liquid, you would add automatic transmission fluid, as generally you can't find anything marked or labelled power steering fluid. While you're here, you might as well check the windscreen washer bottle. Some people just put water in there. Now, if you've ever done the washing up at home, you'd find water doesn't really cut through all the grease that's left over from dinner. So some people put dishwashing detergent in, but it's very infrequent. You get bacon and eggs on the glass of the car. So probably what's better to be used is a good windscreen washer concentrate that's made to cut through bug guts and bug brains and bug bums as they get on the glass of the car. The windscreen washer fluid is just as important as the rest of the underbonnet checks, as it helps provide the driver with clear vision of the road ahead. While making these underbonnet checks, it's also a good time to see that the lights and indicators working. Maybe somebody needs to help you. This Proton has an excellent lighting system. Check the park lights, low beam headlights, high beam headlights, front fog lights if fitted, cornering lights if fitted, rear driving lights, rear brake lights, reverse lights, rear fog lights and rear license plate lights are working. If no one is available to help check the headlights, you might need to do it yourself, using the windows or mirrors to work from the reflection. This car is also fitted with height adjustable headlights. Beside the steering wheel is a small control knob with 4 settings, allowing the driver to set the headlight beam depending on the load and luggage being carried. So the beam can be adjusted up or down to give you better driving vision. If the headlights of the car aren't working, or any of the other lighting systems, firstly check the fuse. If that's alright, then check the bulb. Be very careful putting your hands on halogen bulbs as you can break them. In this Proton there are fuses housed in the dashboard below and to the right of the steering wheel, and also in the engine compartment. The fuse housing has a fuse map listing the name of the electrical systems and the fuse capacities. A fuse puller and spare fuses are supplied inside the driver's side fuse housing. Use this fuse puller to remove the suspect fuse. Before replacing or checking a fuse, turn the electrical item concerned off, and also turn the ignition key to the lock position. Maybe under the fuse box you'd need the fuse puller. Pull the fuse out and check it from there. If it's not blown, something else must be causing the problem. If it is, you need to replace it with a similar capacity fuse, never with a higher capacity. If you aren't carrying spare fuses, it may be possible for you to substitute a fuse of a non-critical driving item, like maybe the interior light or cigarette lighter, into the fuse that is blown. But don't turn your airbag or headlights or ABS brakes off just to get the radio working. If the engine cannot be started because the battery is dead or weak, another vehicle's battery can be used to help jump-start the car. Some tips to observe when jump-starting is firstly, use only a 12-volt battery. Never try and jump-start off an aeroplane or boat's battery. Also use heavy-duty jumper cables and make sure there is no contact between both vehicles, otherwise charge may flow. Park both vehicles safely. Connect one end of the jumper cable to the positive terminal of the discharge battery and the other end of the same cable to the positive terminal of the booster battery. Connect one end of the other cable to the negative terminal of the booster battery and the other end not to the negative terminal of the discharge battery, but to a metal part of the vehicle far from the discharge battery. Do not clip onto fuel lines or parts that will move when the engine starts. This sequence of connecting the jumper cables is done to stop igniting the flammable battery gas and also to stop a power surge going through the car's computer. Now start the engine of the vehicle supplying current. Once idling, attempt to start the car with the discharge battery. After it's started, disconnect the cables in the reverse order, being very careful not to get the cables caught in moving engine parts. To improve driving vision, the windscreen and mirrors should be cleaned regularly. Often water and a clean cloth is suitable, but sometimes to cut through the extra road grime, a good glass and chrome cleaner should be used. Also available on the market these days is products you treat onto the inside windscreen of the car to stop the car fogging up, and onto the outside glass to stop water droplets sticking. You'll be amazed how much extra driving vision these products can give you. Now if you park the car in the sun for extended periods, you'll find a thick gunky layer can form above the dashboard of the vehicle. It's called polymer particle migration. The polymers from the dashboard melt up onto the inside glass. If you treat the dashboard with some car cleaning products, this layer can also be added to. If you park the car in the sun also, the wiper blades can stick to the glass. When you come back to the car on a hot summer's day, you turn the wiper washer combination on and you find the wipers shake before taking off or hesitate. What has actually happened is the black rubber's melted to the glass, and when you turn them on, the sharp edge of the wiper blade has actually fallen off. All of these sort of techniques we've been talking about and tips about maintaining the car are very important. All of these Proton cars come standard with one of the greatest road safety innovations since seatbelts. That is the anti-lock or anti-skid braking system, or ABS.
During a panic stop, a driver in a non-ABS equipped car can reach wheel lock-up, meaning the car is skidding, increasing braking distance and meaning the car cannot be steered. Through panic and the over-application of the brakes, the driver has become a passenger without any control over the vehicle. In the same scenario with an ABS-equipped vehicle, the impending wheel lock-up is detected and the ABS computer commences an operating sequence to hold, increase and decrease brake pressure. This can mean the brakes are repeatedly applied and removed up to 18 times per second. As such, the ABS takes over when panic and human error begin. ABS not only improves stopping distance over locked wheels, but also allows the driver to retain steerability. ABS can allow a driver to swerve to avoid a crash. In this example, the car with ABS is approaching the lane change area at 70 km an hour. At the first traffic control cones, the driver reacts, brakes hard, and steers to where the car can go, safely avoiding the obstacle. The amount of brake pressure applied by the driver is controlled by the ABS modulating valve. Without ABS, success is reliant on the driver's skills. In the real world, skills can fail under pressure. If the driver applies the brakes too hard, wheels lock and the steering is lost. The extra cost of ABS can easily pay for itself in avoiding costly and painful crashes.
Not only is braking distance minimised with ABS, the driver also retains the ability to steer. As an added advantage, because the tyres do not slide, they will not be flat spotted, maximising the life of the tyres. Airbags can help save your life in a crash. ABS gives you some chance to avoid the crash in the first place.
If your car is equipped with ABS, on starting the car, a warning lamp should illuminate on the dashboard. This lamp should then go off after a system check is completed. If not, consult the vehicle handbook.
ABS actually communicates to the driver during heavy brake application, with pulsations in the brake pedal and vibrations in the steering wheel. This is all normal. Keep your foot firmly on the brake pedal. The stopping distance provided by ABS in an emergency will vary with road, vehicle and weather conditions. As such, ABS cannot overcome the laws of physics. Drivers of ABS-equipped cars should continue to drive in a safe manner, maintaining a safe following distance appropriate for the road and weather conditions. The only part of your vehicle in contact with the Earth's surface is its tyres, the contact patch of each tyre being equivalent to one handspan of rubber. Every time you drive, these round black things play a vital role in ensuring your safety. You can have the best brakes, best suspension, and be the best driver, but ultimately it's the tyres that govern your limits. Often drivers spend heaps of money on car stereos, alloy wheels, window tinting, and the like, only to fit the cheapest of tyres. The tyres on the vehicle perform the following tasks. They help support the load of the vehicle. They provide grip when accelerating, braking and steering, and also help absorb shock from irregularities on the road surface. It is shocking, therefore, that so many tyre surveys suggest that drivers we share the roads with have at least one illegal tyre on their car. The driver of a company car has a duty of care to the company, to themselves, and to the community to make sure the tyres are well maintained on their vehicle. The parent driving the most precious cargo of all should also be at all times confident in the quality and safety of the tyres of the vehicle. For many drivers, tyres are a grudge purchase, but your first order of business with tyres is to buy the best quality tyres you can. When buying tyres, they need to be the right size, specification, load carrying capacity and speed rating. It's also important to look for tyres with large straight grooves for good steering response and large grooves that lead to the side to disperse water. To determine the right tyre pressure for your vehicle, consult the vehicle handbook or the tyre placard. In every car manufactured and sold in Australia since 1973, there must be by law a tyre placard equipped to the vehicle. In this car it is on the B pillar that separates the front door from the back of the vehicle. So that is why you check your tyres. What about how you check your tyres? At Safe Drive Training, we would recommend you purchase your own tyre pressure gauge. Keep it in the glove box of your vehicle until you need it. When checking your tyres, unscrew the plastic dust cap. With your accurate gauge, push it on firmly and make your reading. We would suggest you replace the plastic dust cap with a metal one. Inside the metal cap is a rubber O-ring which will help keep air inside the valve. That's how you check your tyres. So what about when? Had you checked your tyre pressures after driving, your tyres would be hot, giving you an inaccurate pressure reading. At Safe Drive Training, we suggest you check your tyres after you wash your car. Now I know for some of you, you might be thinking, well that's every year. Or when it rains, God must send an angel down to check your tyre pressures. But at least after washing your car, your tyres will still be cold, giving you the correct cold inflation pressure. While washing the car, use this as an opportunity to check how your tyres are wearing. Rub your hand across the tyre surface to make sure it is wearing evenly. Here are some examples of poorly maintained tyres. This tyre shows signs of overinflation. The middle region has worn excessively. This tyre came off a turbocharged front-wheel drive European vehicle. As such, all the accelerating, 90% of the braking and all the steering was done through what was basically a bicycle tyre, 30 millimeters of rubber up the middle. This tyre shows signs of underinflation. The sides have worn before the middle region. This tyre was more prone to aquaplaning and gave the driver less grip on the road. This tyre shows signs of bad wheel alignment. One side is worn excessively. This side never touched the road surface and this side wore too early.
When we drive in traffic or on the highway, we're often separated from potential head-on collisions by only dotted white lines. Paint is not the greatest separator of traffic, but space or distance is. Good lane position provides you room to manoeuvre.
Your lane position is another low-risk driving technique. Be constantly mindful of driving as near as practical the left-hand side of the road and stay left in your lane. Allowing your concentration levels to slip and ending up close to the centre can mean you're very close to a head-on collision with this truck. A small mistake can result in a big crash.
By driving as near as practical to the left side of the road, You can when passing parked cars, buses, cyclists, pedestrians, or even intersections, move closer to the centre of the road to provide an increased safety margin, a buffer zone. After the hazard has been passed, resume your position near the left. Many drivers drive in a false belief that if the car in front suddenly started braking, they would react and brake and end up stopped the same distance apart. Let's disprove this myth. Here's a test. Both vehicles are travelling at 100 kilometres an hour, or approximately 28 metres a second, when suddenly the car in front brakes hard. The driver behind reacts to this and starts braking. As you can see, the following driver would not have been able to stop without colliding into the car in front. The total stopping distance of a vehicle is made up of 4 components: human perception time, human reaction time, vehicle reaction time, vehicle braking capability. The human perception time is how long the driver takes to see the hazard and the brain realise it is a hazard requiring an immediate reaction. This perception time can be as long as a quarter to half a second. Once the brain realises danger, the human reaction time is how long the body takes to move the foot from the accelerator to brake pedal. Again, this reaction time can vary from a quarter to 3/4 of a second.
These first 2 components of stopping distance are human factors, and as such can be affected by tiredness, alcohol, fatigue and concentration levels. A perception and reaction time of 3 to 4 seconds is possible. 4 seconds at 100 kilometres an hour means the vehicle will actually travel 110 metres before the brakes are applied. Once the brakes are applied, it's then the vehicle's reaction time, which depends on the brake adjustment, the hydraulic properties of the braking fluid, and the working order of the braking system.
This is why in our experiment the following car could not stop. When the brake light came on the car in front, this driver had already completed the perception, human and vehicle reaction periods. The following driver was perhaps 1 second too late in applying the brakes. At 100 kilometres an hour, the car required 28 metres further to stop. The last factor that determines the total stopping distance: brake alignment, tyre pressures, tyre tread, tyre grip, vehicle weight, the suspension system, and other factors such as the coefficient of friction of the road surface, wind speed, the slope of the road, the surface smoothness, and the braking techniques applied by the driver.
Remember, these braking distances were achieved under ideal conditions by a professional driver in an unloaded vehicle on dry bitumen. In the real world, perception and reaction time must be added to give the total stopping distance. Worth noting is when the speed increased from 50 to 100 kilometres an hour, the braking distance increased from 10 to 40 metres. That's a 4 times increase. When you double the speed, braking distance quadruples. This is based on the laws of physics. When a car is moving and has kinetic energy, a half mv squared. When you double the velocity, the car ends up with 4 times the kinetic energy, but still the same size brakes, resulting in a 4-time increase in total stopping distance. Given the large distance required to perceive and react to hazards, plus the braking distance required to stop in an emergency, maintaining a safe following distance is an essential low-risk driving technique. The greater the following distance you have from the vehicle in front, the more time and space you will have to manoeuvre in. Also, by sitting further back, you gain greater vision of the road ahead. The reason for this can be shown by this simple example. With your hand held at arm's length, it blocks very little of your view ahead. With your hand right in front of the face, you'd have no view of the road ahead. It's the double whammy of tailgating. By driving this close, you have no view of the road ahead and no time to react if the unexpected occurs. Often the tailgating driver is trying to intimidate the driver in front into changing lanes, their eyes trying to make known their aggression to the driver ahead. But in this position, they are setting themselves up for a very expensive and embarrassing crash should something unexpected occur. When learning to drive, we are taught the time-lapse formula to determine a safe following distance. To apply this formula, select a stationary object to the side of the road, like a tree, a pole, a shadow or an overpass. As the vehicle in front passes this object, begin counting 1001, 1002. If your vehicle passes this object before this count, you're too close. This 2-second following distance is the minimum for safe driving.
Check out these drivers. Which person is driving with the highest level of risk? If it takes such a long distance to stop when the unexpected occurs, it is amazing the number of drivers that position themselves where they have no view of the road ahead.
Often other drivers will merge into your safe following distance. It takes a certain amount of tolerance and maturity to fall back and re-establish space. In certain circumstances, a 3 or 4 second following distance might be more appropriate. This is usually when your vision is obscured or the road conditions change. Situations requiring a greater following distance include driving in wet weather, fog, snow or ice, when smoke is across the road, when following a large vehicle, when being followed by a large vehicle, on dirt roads, or when towing or fully loaded. If being followed closely by a large vehicle, increase your following distance from the traffic ahead. This allows you to brake more gradually and you won't have the unpleasant experience of being run over by a truck from behind.
Insurance company statistics suggest that late afternoon between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. is a high-risk driving time. Think about it. You've had a hard day's work, you're tired, irritable, and now you are doing the most dangerous thing you'll ever do, and you just don't have your mind on the job. To make matters worse, the traffic is getting heavier, school is out, people are coming home from work, and the sun is starting to set. A technique defensive drivers use in this situation to keep their concentrations up is called commentary driving. Talk yourself through every hazard you can see, even the most minor or trivial. Here's an example. Exiting roundabout now. Cancel indicators. Car in the other lane. Motorcycle intersection on the left. It may pull out. Many cars approaching on the right. Check the motorcycle again. Truck parked to the left. Car in driveway behind. Is it moving? Driver cannot see me approaching. Parked car, open door. Look for kids. Cars still approaching. Empty lane to the left if needed. Check the intersection ahead. Car pulling out in the distance. This commentary driving can also highlight whether you have the vision skills to scan the road well ahead, or that you are only looking at the road just in front. How long would it have taken you to see this crash at the intersection, when you had arrived or several hundred metres earlier? In late afternoons, sun glare can make it difficult to distinguish road markings, signage, traffic and brake lights. Remember, on an orange light you must stop if it's safe to do so. If you can, try and stop half a car length back from the intersection, usually where you can see the solid line over your bonnet. When the lights change, pause momentarily and check for a red light runner. If it's safe, enter the intersection, lift your vision and begin to scan. Scan under parked cars, keep your eyes moving looking for hazards, and begin reading the road further ahead. It is important to adjust your driving to the conditions. Remember, the speed limit is the maximum for good driving conditions. Even driving away from the sun in late afternoon, the brake lights of vehicles you are following can be difficult to distinguish. Increase following distance to compensate. Applying these techniques will ensure you arrive home every afternoon.
When driving at dusk, even though it's not yet dark, turn your headlights on to make your vehicle more visible to other road users. Other drivers might not have very good driving vision. Be aware of what you can't see, such as wildlife, particularly kangaroos, feeding on the lush grass beside the road. Look out for vehicles without their headlights on, or worse still, vehicles with their high beam on. Avoid being blinded by the glare by looking at the edge line until the offender has passed. At night at traffic lights, you can often see the traffic lights for the other direction change. In the left corner of the screen, the lights will soon change orange, and some ignorant driver will probably scurry through as the lights go red. Then it's your turn. Defensive drivers at night apply the "it's better to arrive late than not arrive at all" principle, but some drivers are always in a hurry. These temporary Australians are safer in front than behind. Why have their headlights in your rear vision mirror for the next few kilometres? At night, be aware of your vehicle's headlight range versus the total stopping distance you would require at your current speed. If you cannot see as far ahead as you would require to stop, you are driving blind to the dangers ahead. It's often under hard acceleration and fast gear changing when a driver grabs the wrong gear or misses a gear, making an awful lot of noise, creating a lot of embarrassment and potentially damaging the car.
Putting your hand on top of the gear selector and stirring the pot is a technique that will surely result in many missed gear changes. Likewise, changing gears with only a finger or two just doesn't cut it as good driving. Sometimes when down changing from fifth in many cars, a driver may inadvertently try and select reverse gear instead of fourth gear. Thankfully, with this Proton, the shift pattern will not allow reverse to be selected accidentally without returning to neutral first. A better gear changing technique drivers can use, which is applicable to daily driving, is to cup the hand when changing gears, so that gears are directed into the right position. To upchange from neutral, turn your left hand over, cup the gear knob gently, and smoothly push across and up to select first. To change to second, with your hand turned over, cup the gear knob, using your fingers to push down. To change up again, keep your hand the right way up and cup the gear knob gently and smoothly push to third, using your palm. To select fourth, cup your hand around and use your fingers to direct from behind as you pull down. To go from fourth to fifth, use the same technique as from second to third. Let's see how it works in practice. Using this method to up or down change gears is smooth and reliable. Now, a safe driver would rarely need to accelerate this hard in everyday driving, but it's good to find out in a safe and controlled environment what your car is capable of. That was a better than 15-second quarter mile time. Wow, this Proton Satrias GTI is fast when you want it to be.
In my opinion, the most reckless drivers always seem to drive old and very poorly maintained vehicles. For these drivers it's true then, they drive what they do because of the way they do. You see, safe driving is also fuel efficient driving. Although this Proton car can return brilliant fuel economy, the driving style and bad habits of a driver can cost a lot of money. Not just in fuel, but also in terms of tyres, brakes, engine and transmission wear. To see what your driving costs you, start by measuring the fuel economy you achieve and compare this with what the manufacturer recommends. If your car is not returning its usual fuel economy or the manufacturer's figures, chances are one of the following conditions or problems is to blame. To improve your fuel economy, keep the car's engine in tune. Have the wheel alignment correct. Make sure the tyres are correctly inflated. Avoid small trips with a cold engine. Avoid stop-start city traffic. Drive on freeways, motorways and arterial roads. Don't over-rev gears nor hold third or fourth gear. Over 80 kilometres an hour, most cars can drive very economically in fifth gear. Use the air conditioning only when needed. It's far more economical to drive with the windows down than the air conditioning on. Having the windows down and the air on is most inefficient. Do not drive with unnecessary load, like leaving the golf clubs in the car all week. Read the road and traffic ahead. Try to keep the vehicle moving, coasting to red lights. Accelerate and brake smoothly. Massage the pedals. When not required, remove roof racks as they increase air resistance, reducing your fuel economy. Perhaps the biggest gains in fuel economy come from driving style. The same techniques that make a safe driver also save money on fuel. Concentration, reading the flow of traffic, looking well ahead, planning well ahead, and driving smoothly all help. At Safe Drive Training, we've done tests in company fleets that have actually found some drivers costing the company an extra 8 litres of fuel per 100 kilometres travelled. This was $2,500 per annum in excess fuel costs. A company working on a 10% profit margin would need to generate $25,000 in sales to pay for these drivers' bad habits. Another risk factor for young drivers is as they reach the legal drinking age, they also reach the legal driving age. Alcohol and driving just don't mix. An initiative designed to combat this problem is the Home Safely program, introduced by the Distilled Spirits Industry Council of Australia. Let's have a look how it works.
Are there any more drinks inside?
I think they're over by the barbie.
Come on, Donna, what's the hold-up?
I'm just tying my jacket.
Hey, Justin, give us a hand. Extra supplies, just in case. Hey, what are you doing driving, man? How are you going to get home?
Oh, I'm not drinking tonight.
Oh, get off the grass.
No, true. I've got to drive some of the guys home. And you?
Me? I'm staying over.
Look at this place. It's great.
Oh my God.
Really can't believe Stewie's folks had let him do this.
Oh, they're pretty cool. Besides, he got away for the weekend. Stewie's got the joint to himself.
Hey, Stewie. Hey, guys. Hey.
Bars in the kitchen, make yourselves at home. We're folks are.
Party time!
Jeez, what a jerk. Hey, want a drink?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mike?
Yeah, something heavy. Hey, try some of this. It's good stuff.
I told you, man, I'm not drinking.
Well, I am.
This stuff tastes like molly water.
I told you so. Yeah, one won't hurt.
Oh, maybe. Just one to wash the taste away.
So what was it like?
The waves were really huge, but the ride was great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've got to get the money together for that new board. That and a new car.
A new car? I'll be happy just to pass the exams and get a place in uni. Or a job.
I just want to make this a great holiday.
Yeah, I'll be in that. Oh, sorry, mate.
It's okay. You missed?
Oh, hang on, I'll try again. Oh, what's me balance?
Justin's a fun guy.
Yeah, he's okay.
Okay, he's great. I'll bet he's hot.
Yeah, kinda. I guess.
What's wrong?
Oh, nothing.
Don't tell me nothing. It's me you're talking to.
I know he's a cool guy, but he's always got to be the big party animal. Like that's supposed to make people like him. Like, wow, man, look how macho I am.
So he likes a drink. What are you, Donna? I'll trade him anytime.
Don't you know, Chantel? Before you can trade, you've got to have something worth trading.
Well, I don't want to trade him, but I get afraid when he's like this. He gets out on the road and he just goes for it.
Better take it easy on that, no, Juz?
Hang on, I've only had two.
You really got to be careful these days, mate. I don't want to lose my licence.
Yeah, driving's the only way to get around.
I tell you, I haven't signed up with Home Safe.
You're kidding. With your folks?
Nah, with Kathy. You know, my older sister.
Look, we're having a great time. I know he doesn't drink that often, so I don't want to spoil his fun. But I don't want to be afraid when we go out either. Know what I mean?
I know how you feel. Rob's the same. Sometimes after a few drinks, he thinks he's Ayrton Senna.
Well, I don't have to worry.
Yeah, because Jimmy's already lost his licence.
Oh, still drives, bud. See, I just shut my eyes.
Look, if it worries you that much, why get in his car?
Well, if I make a big thing out of it, it could be hasta la vista, baby.
How do you know?
She doesn't. The guys are such jerks.
Problem is I worry too much. I mean, he wasn't supposed to drink tonight, but with the end of term, you know. So I said we'd take a cab. Told him I'd pay for it.
For real? You're going to pay?
Thanks. But the way he is, he could get pulled over and lose his licence or anything.
So, what'd he say?
He said, why blow all your money on a cab when I've got a perfectly good car?
Oh, watch out, Derek.
Watch out.
Get out of there!
After the midterm party, we missed an oncoming car by this much, I swear.
Drunk?
No, he only had 2 drinks.
He's not supposed to be drinking at all when he's driving.
I know.
Get yourself a new guy. This one's a real loser.
He's not a loser. He's kind of fun. Besides, he's cute.
That's cute. Look, Donna, this is serious. You can't just let this go. You're not really going to get in the car with him tonight, are you?
Guess it's about time to go.
Great. Hardly seen you all night.
I've been having a good time with my mates.
Look, I'll see you later, all right?
Hey guys, you ready to go?
Listen, mate, you've been drinking a fair bit, so we're going with Mario's old man.
Hey, you coming?
Well, you two want to come along?
Nah, come on, let's get out of here. What's up with them?
Justin, you agreed you were going to be the one to drive everyone home.
I still will.
Yeah, but now you've let everyone down. You know the deal is you don't drink and drive. Come on.
Look, I haven't had that much to drink. I can still drive.
But you're not supposed to drink anything when you drive.
Oh, look, it'd be a worry if I was like Mike. He's out to it.
Mike's not driving, he's staying the night. Justin, I really don't want you to drive.
Jeez, you're becoming a bore. Chill out, will you?
I've seen you drive before when you've been like this. I don't like it. I get scared. We've already had one close call.
Maybe you'd like it better if I took someone else home instead. Hey, Sally, why don't you come home in my car?
You're such a creep sometimes, Justin. Why don't you go crawl back in your grunge pit?
See? She loves me.
Justin, this is really serious. One day you'll end up killing both of us. I'm not getting in the car. I'm saying no right now.
Suit yourself. Get a cab.
But I want you to come with me, please.
It's just a waste of money.
Hey, great party, guys.
Yeah, tops. Hey, Andy. Skull, skull, skull.
You think this is really funny, don't you, Justin? Tanya, look at Andy. He's really drunk.
That's right. Turn the whole world against us.
Rack off, Justin. I'm not talking to you. Look, he's really out of it. He's an accident waiting to happen. Come with me in a cab.
Yeah, she needs moral support. For the last time, Donna, get in the car.
Come on, come with me.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I'm sorry, I can't.
So why can't you be a little bit more like Tanya?
Because I'd rather get home in one piece, that's why. If that's all you think of our relationship, you know where you can stick it and call in a cab.
Call a friggin' cab for all I care. I'm out of here. Donna. Donna!
2 eggs, Keith?
Thanks, love.
Oh, don't mention eggs.
Late night, love.
Oh, yeah, pretty late. I can hardly keep my eyes open.
Surprised you're even able to stand.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. Only had a couple of drinks.
You're pushing it, Justin.
Lay off, Dad. You're always on my back.
Were you drinking last night? And you drove home?
I didn't have much. Besides, it's only once or twice a term.
Yeah, well, you better think about getting dressed. And you've got the rubbish to put out.
Okay.
Don't give me that.
God, let up. Why don't you turn up the news? Thanks, Mum.
You keep driving your car like that.
Dad, stop preaching to me like I'm a kid. You've always got to have a go at me.
In a lucky escape, 2 people were trapped when their car hit a bridge support on the Southern City approach.
And I reckon that's lucky.
An unidentified female passenger received facial injuries and was trapped for more than an hour before rescue services could free her. The driver, 18-year-old Andrew Friedrichs of Springwood, escaped with only minor injuries and has been charged with a series of drink driving offences.
Oh, God, that's
And in
Andy.
international news,
Andy who?
as millions
You know,
of black
Andy
South Africans flocked to
with the
polls
red
today
XF.
despite another
He was at the party
terrorist
last night. He was drunk as a skunk.
And you weren't far behind him, I
The Encounter
suppose.
Freedom Party leader,
Hi.
G'day, mate.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mrs. D. Are you ready?
For what?
We're going to the game, remember?
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Is Donna coming?
I don't think so. Hey, did you hear about Andy?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Boy, you've had a rough night, Jazz. You look like dog meat.
Thanks.
You didn't drive home last night, did you?
It was the end of term party.
Yeah, well, that's no excuse. You're going to end up losing your licence.
Hey man, you should be part of the Home Safely program.
Oh, dream on.
Well, we've both signed up.
That's not very cool, you know.
Listen, it doesn't say you can't drink, just tries to make sure you get home safely.
Okay, so what's this all about?
Look, don't worry about it. You wouldn't understand anyway.
Justin, I really don't want you to end up wrapped around a pole or losing your licence. So come on, what's going on?
It's a thing we've looked at school, Mr. D.
You see, you sign this contract and your folks agree to pick you up.
Look, you guys have got no idea. Look, Home Safely produces this thing called a contract for life. It's a contract between one of us and your parents, or a responsible adult.
Yeah, what happens is, if you agree you are going out partying and drinking, like last night, you either call your folks or the responsible adult. You know, like an older brother or sister, a friend or a relative. They'll either pick you up or they arrange alternative transport.
And they have to agree to be sober, because it's just as important not to drive with someone who's been drinking as it is not to drive yourself.
And most important of all, your parents have to agree not to give you a hard time about your condition that night.
Really? Aren't we lucky it's now the next day?
Anyway, it's not a legal agreement.
Well, for someone who didn't know much about it, that's not a bad effort. Where do we get a copy of this contract for life?
Oh, you don't really want to sign it, do you?
I don't know. I want to take a look at it.
You would? Really?
A bicycle rider has very little protection to begin with. The human body is not made to withstand impacts at speeds faster than running. As a cyclist, a protective helmet and brightly coloured clothing can offer some safety. As a driver though, the unexpected movement of cyclists, especially young riders, can surprise us. Some drivers have the attitude that they own the road and deliberately drive too close to cyclists when overtaking them to try and teach them a lesson. When overtaking a cyclist from behind, a safe driver thinks what if and creates a buffer zone of 1 metre and if possible 2 metres to allow for any sudden movements. When creating this buffer zone, remember that your mirrors protrude wider from the vehicle. Also watch out for these scenarios. When a large vehicle such as a truck or bus passes a cyclist at speed, the disturbed airflow can buffet the rider, resulting in sudden changes of position. When approaching a cyclist, they may hear you approaching and turn their head to look. This tilting and rotating of the rider's head can, if not allowed for by the cyclist, result in the bike deviating into the lane in front of you. Cyclists passing parked vehicles may have a door suddenly open in front of them, requiring them to take evasive action into your lane. The most important thing when driving near cyclists is to remember that they were never designed with crashes in mind. Plan ahead, leave a buffer zone, and look for potential hazards. Above all, treat cyclists as you would wish to be treated when riding your bike.
Hi, I'm Rod Hennefy, and on behalf of the Australian Trucking Association, I'd like to thank Proton and Safe Drive Training for giving us this opportunity to show young people the differences between driving a heavy vehicle and a car. Young drivers get a licence at 17 and have it till they're 70, and unless they have a father who's a driver or get a chance to ride in a truck, they don't see the differences, and to have an accident with one is not a very good way to learn. Thanks must go to Nolan's Transport for supplying this vehicle, and with it here we've been able to show you the differences between the size of a car and a truck. From there we're going on to 10 tips which were supplied by professional drivers in response to a survey, and we're hopeful that these will help you on the road. A truck requires a larger braking distance than a car, so don't jump in front of a truck at lights or on the highway. On the highway, you may cause an accident further back behind the truck. A loaded B-double can weigh 40 times that of the average sedan. And with traffic lights, if the truck can still be moving when the lights change, there's less delay for all traffic. The Do Not Overtake turning vehicle sign fitted to the rear of the truck allows it to legally turn from the second or even the third lane if required to safely get round a corner. Should you come up beside the vehicle, you could be in a blind spot to the left and rear of the cab. And remember, if you can't see the truck driver, he can't see you. If being overtaken by a truck, please monitor your speed. Many drivers either inadvertently or deliberately speed up when the truck goes to overtake, and should you do that, the more distance required, the less safety there is. Truck drivers have very little trouble with people travelling at the posted speed limit or below, but obviously we need to be at the speed limit at the bottom of a hill to try and delay traffic as little as possible. And on the highway, all we ask is that should a truck go to overtake you, make sure you don't accelerate, give him a fair go, and if you need to, by all means slow down and it'll be safer for both. Speed limiting involves electronic control of the truck's speed. The truck will not at speed downhill. So with trucks, we cannot accelerate quicker than cars, and when you have a truck behind you, the speed limiting can allow them to maintain a perfect 100. So you may think the truck's catching up behind you, but he's just maintaining that 100 kilometres per hour. This is about road courtesy. Your licence is a privilege and not a right, and your attitude to other drivers and their behaviour on the road will decide whether you have a life of getting home safely to your family or getting all upset and aggressive. Surely that when you're on the road, consider other drivers, and to me, a wave of thanks is better than a waved fist and heading to possible road rage. Road positioning. As a professional driver, I'm amazed how many vehicles travel so close to the white centre line. The truck uses a lot more of its lane space, where cars can allow more space against oncoming traffic and give themselves a safety margin. Also, if you are pulled up on the side of the road, please park well clear of the fog line, that unbroken line on the left-hand side of the road. People see it as a 6-foot wide brick wall, and it's not. So if you break down or if pulled up by the police, park well clear, because the police park proud of the vehicle they have stopped, allowing a safety corridor for the police officer. So if you're on the side of the road at night, dip your lights, park well clear, and add safety to where you've parked on the side of the road. On narrow country roads, where the bitumen isn't really wide enough for two vehicles, consider putting your left-hand wheel off onto the dirt. If at the last minute you force the truck off, it could have up to 20 tyres throwing rocks at you. And on very narrow outback roads, where you come across large trucks, be prepared to move right off the road. If you move off, the truck can pull you back out of the mud. But if the truck moves off and gets bogged, it could be there for days. Headlight glare can contribute to nighttime driving fatigue. When you see the lights of an approaching vehicle dip, or if you see them flashed when approaching a crest or curve, consider that if you don't dip your lights until you see that vehicle, you are momentarily blinding the other driver. With a truck, when you come up behind the truck, dip early rather than late, because the truck's mirrors can be up to 15 times the size of the mirrors in your car, and we do not have an anti-glare position. A lot of young drivers now turn fog lights on and run with them on all the time. It is illegal to use fog lights in other than fog conditions, and they can be more of a hazard. The same with rear fog lights. In rainy weather, they can make sure that you don't see whether the brake lights are being used. When you're out in the country, keep an eye on your lights, make sure they're clean, and you carry spare bulbs. Unsafe overtaking is something that truckies see a lot of. People often get impatient behind the truck and tend to try and take a large risk for a very small gain. On the highway, we'd like you to pass quickly but safely. Don't pull back in front of the truck until you see both headlights. This then allows a safe margin between you and the vehicle. Maintain your speed, don't slow down, and the last thing, if you can't see, don't pass. Roundabouts can cause problems for heavy vehicles, with cars not allowing for the fact that the truck may need to use all of the road. The do not overtake turning vehicle sign applies, but the truck is not racing you for the roundabout, he's just trying to keep moving and lessen the delay for all traffic. If he has to stop, all three roads may have to wait for him. Australia's road transport industry is one of the most cost efficient in the world, and every one of us benefit from that. Everything that you use, from your breakfast and the furniture and the fuel for your car, are carried in trucks at some time or other. All we'd like you to do is think of the time spent away from home and on the road by Australia's truckies, and share the road safely. Thank you, and safe travelling.
When parking on a hill, the park brake, or handbrake as it is also known, is put to the test. A poorly adjusted, regularly misused, or worn park brake may not hold the weight of the car. The correct procedure though is very important. Here's an example of what not to do. Look familiar? In this example, the weight of the car is held more by the selector pin in the automatic transmission than by the park brake. Whenever you are parking a car, park and stop safely. At this point, your foot brake should be holding the car stationary. Select neutral, no matter whether the car has an automatic or manual transmission. Pull on and apply the park brake. The correct way to apply the park brake is to push the button in as you are pulling it on. Avoid the ratchet sound and reduce wear on the metal teeth. Let the button out as the park brake is on. Pull again firmly to hear one more click. Let your foot slowly off the foot brake. Now the car's weight is held by the parking brake. Now select first gear in a manual or park in an automatic for added security.
On an uphill slope, turn the wheels out from the curb. So in the unlikely event of a handbrake failure, the vehicle may be restrained by that curb.
If parking on a downhill slope, turn the wheels into the curb, so again the curb may stop a runaway car. A reverse parallel park is one manoeuvre drivers learn when obtaining their driver's licence and then never use again, opting instead to find another parking spot than attempt a reverse parallel park. It's not hard, and with some practice and a good manoeuvrable car like this Proton, it will become easy. To commence, stop about 1 metre from the parked vehicle towards its front, select reverse gear and cancel indicators, as reversing lights signal your intention. Reverse slowly until the rear window is in line with the rear of the parked car. Whilst moving slowly, turn hard until the vehicle reaches 45 degrees, then start to straighten the steering as required. Be aware as you turn the car that the front corner will trace a wider path into the flow of traffic. Remember to give way to all traffic approaching from behind. Do not park closer than 1 metre from other vehicles. You don't want to be boxed in. Park using the park brake and gears correctly. When returning to your parked car, always approach from the passenger side and undertake a circle check. Walk around your vehicle facing oncoming traffic to check for damage. Eyeball your tyres and check for obstructions and your proximity to hazards. Check above your vehicle as well.
This simple procedure of looking for obstacles and hazards before driving off, even when driving from home, will eliminate many avoidable collisions and those unfortunate incidents that occur every year of parents driving over their young children or pets as they reverse out of their driveway. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Anwar Rozan, Bill Gillespie, Amanda Goldingay and the management and staff of Proton Cars Australia for their support not only of this project but of Safe Drive Training's driver education services. 3 years ago we wrote to every car company in Australia seeking their support to supply us with training vehicles. Most car companies took the attitude, well, how many cars are you going to sell? Proton Cars Australia was the only to ask, how many lives are you going to save? Proton should be congratulated in their commitment to saving young Australian lives. It is heartening then to receive testimonials from both parents, schools and young drivers thanking us and Proton for saving their lives out there on the road with the skills and the knowledge they have learnt. Proton cars deserve to do well in the Australian car market. Having just driven their Satrias GTI, I think it's one of the most wonderful cars I've ever driven. Good luck, Proton.
Proton.